educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so trade carefully, please. And let's get started for the WASDE report. The WASDE. Okay. Now give me a second because we are streaming. Gotta get set up. Okie dokie. All right. So everybody that's watching us on YouTube, welcome. So let me redo the disclosure. I apologize. I jumped the gun. I jumped the gun. Let's do that intro again. Only takes a minute. Okay, welcome to the WASDE report, the 10-minute trade room. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director at 10-minute trades. Please remember, all trades we discuss are for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures. Trade carefully, please. All right, WASDE. Excuse me. Excusez-moi. How do you like that French, Chantal? Excusez-moi. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right. So the WASDE is a grain report, and I just want to go over the DMM a little bit. I do want to explain that sometimes this report can also have to deal with liquidity and orders being available. I don't expect that there will be a margin question, because once again, you know, we were checking all the margins this morning, and there didn't even seem to be a margin question for the PPI report. So I don't know what Ninja is really doing. I don't know that anybody really knows what they're doing. I don't know if they know what they're doing when it comes to this margin scenario. We'll just have to keep an eye out. I mean, the calendar, certainly it doesn't look like it's being updated in any kind of meaningful way. Here's the calendar. The Ninja Trader calendar is very, very minimal. I mean, basically, there's nothing on it except next Friday's jobs report, next month's November's job report, November's FOMC meeting, and a couple of tomorrow's CPI report, and that's about it. So maybe we got all bent out of shape over nothing. I'm not really sure. We'll have to see. So it still makes sense to check the margins anyway. And, you know, Peter's in Australia, and for folks like in Canada, Australia, other countries, Ninja is not the broker. So you don't have to worry about Ninja's margins. Now, look, if you go back 6 months ago, AMP was a broker with margin issues. They had very high oil margins. And so it is not unique just to Ninja. It doesn't make them a bad broker. I mean, it's just one of those things we got to deal with, so we deal with it. Right now, margins are just normal. They're standard rates. So I'm just going to trade normally. And we'll see how it goes. All right. We'll try and keep an eye on the margins 15 minutes before. But I don't anticipate, no one pays attention to the WASDE report really. So I'm not really anticipating. I mean, traders pay attention to it. So, we'll try and keep an eye on things. That's all. We'll be as mindful as possible. Let's talk a little bit about the DMM because I just want everyone to be clear about the setups. I am going to trade a trap trade on corn. And I do want to make a comment about, excuse me, my throat is shot forever. It's not going to get better. I'm old. Everything that I have is only going to get worse. I'm not at the age where things get better. So, I mean, I'm not dying, but eventually I'll just be talking like this in the room and I'll still be okay, but I'll probably be talking like this. If you notice, corn had some stops on WASDE, and last month I traded the trap trade. We made a couple of bucks. Corn, just as the WASDE report has changed, so for a while we're going to stay with the trap trade on corn. But what I really wanted to talk about is couple of things. If you do trade the breakout, just be aware the bracket is bigger and the stop is bigger. So the risk is higher. Okay, the risk is higher. What Chantal and I noticed when we were testing the WASDE reports for our setups, just to go over the setups and see what's going on, we test, it's what we do. And we did notice, particularly on soybeans, that the orders are drying up. So there could be liquidity challenges on soybeans for the breakout, but we are not currently recommending the trap trade because soybeans have been moving too much. Okay, so just be aware that if you choose the breakout, you could, it could be a very large move. It could be a lousy fill that continues in your direction so it doesn't ruin the trade, or it could be a fill at the bottom or top of a candle. So you just want to be aware of the events that could take place because the orders are tending to dry up on soybeans. Okay, soybeans tend to have a much larger move than corn, and soybeans sometimes spike early. So they're just generally riskier to trade. When it's a winning trade, it's usually a better profit because it's so big of a move. But just be aware that we've noticed that the orders are drying up. And so what do we mean when they're drying up? Let me see if I can show you. Give me 1 second. Let me just see if I have what I have in the way of a video. So this was last month. Watch the right side of the chart. The right side of the chart. The right side of the chart. See how fast that moved? We know what happens sometimes when indexes move, instruments move that fast. You might get a fill towards the top of the candle. So yes, it looked like a great breakout, and it kept going. So that probably was a good winner because it looked like it filled, 3/4 of the way up the candle, kept moving. And then after it hit your targets, it pulls back. So, but just be aware that if you want to trade the beans, that friendly musical fruit, the beans, just be aware they move further, but it could be a liquidity challenged movement. All right. So That's what I wanted to tell you. Originally, I was certain with my testing that I was going to trade soybeans. And then Chantal and I spent some time, and I really just became a little bit more concerned that soybeans might not fill as well as the corn trap trade. One of the issues with the corn trap trade, it hasn't been all that impactful. So, we'll give it a shot. I'm going to give it a shot. I made money on it last month. I'll trade it. I don't want to shrink it, because what's the worst that could happen if you don't shrink the tiers, right? In other words, I don't want to be so aggressive on the tiers that if there's a big move, it'll explode through the tiers and stop us out. I want to use a moderate set of tiers. The worst that happens is maybe I'll only get filled on one tier, and it won't be as big of an event, big of a trade. I would prefer that, obviously, to being stopped. I'd rather just get filled on one tier than have a stop, because my tiers are too small. So here's the way I'm going to trade the WASDE on corn. I'm trading it as a trap, not as a breakout. And I do have a template, I'm pretty sure. So let me load it. WASDE. Let's see what we got here. 18 and 32. I did the bulk of my testing with 18 and 30. But since we traded live last week, 18 and 32, that's the way I'm doing it. Okay. The time of the event is at 12. Orders go on the chart 5 seconds prior. And the stop is 22. The stop is between 22 and 25. Five seconds before the news comes out, our orders go on the chart. And tiers, I'm using 18. Sorry, that's soybeans. I knew that was big. 18 and 32. 18 and 32. Stop of 22. Activate 5 seconds prior. And it's a 12 o'clock event. Okay. That's the setup I'm using. I'm not recommending the trap on soybeans today because of the size of the movements on beans. The movements have been rather big. So that's what I'm doing on the WASDE on corn. There have been some really nice movements on the trap. So you never know what's going to happen. I'm anticipating a good movement and a nice reversal. It's very common in this report. So one more time, it's a trap trade, and I've got tiers of 18 and 32 with an event time of 12:00, an activation prep time of 5 seconds. And a trap corn. And what I'll also do, I do not anticipate that there will be a weird early movement on corn. I don't think that that's going to happen, but we had an instance once years ago, it's probably almost 2 years ago already, that there was movement on corn that made corn not smart to trade at the time of the event, and we traded soybeans. So I'll set a breakout up on beans that I'm not anticipating to trade. But if for some reason corn can't be traded, then I have an alternative breakout on soybeans. So the setup is 11:59.58 on the breakout. It's a 20 bracket. And frankly, my gut on this trade, let me just check something, bear with me. So I'm going to use a bracket of 23. Profits 10 and 25. Like I said, though, I'm not really anticipating trading this. I think if soybeans, if we did trade it and soy moves, we see that these moves are way bigger than they've been this year than previously. And I think our targets are a little bit based on last year's movements. I don't think it's unreasonable to go for 13 and 32, and the stop's been increased to 30. And the entry time is 11:59.58 on soybeans. Okay. Now I'm setting it up as a live trade, but I'm not anticipating trading it. Okay. But if something should happen and I can't trade corn for whatever reason, then I have the opportunity to trade beans. The bean breakout. So one more time, the bean breakout activated. I'm activating at 11:59.58. I have a couple of targets for 13 and 32. My stop is 30. And that's my backup trade if for some reason corn can't be traded. My bracket's 23. Stop is 30, okay? So I'm not, like I said, I'm not activating it. But let's do things properly. Let me check my bracket size, just like I would if I were trading it for sure. No harm in looking and setting things up the right way. Okay, so hold on. I got to fix something. Something's not right, so bear with me. So the beans are here. When we get movement, I should see. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Hold on. Zero, zero. Oh, you know, it's me. I'm crazy. My chart was spread so wide. I thought I'd lost my mind. All right, I wasn't seeing my orders. Okay. So that's a good size bracket. That's fine. That's what I was trying to do. So let's put our time back to normal. You know, sometimes I can get confused. I'm just human. 11:59:58 is our time. Bracket of 23, targets of 13 and 32 with a stop of 30 on the beans. All right. And like I said, that's my backup trade. If for some reason we can't trade corn, I'll trade beans. I feel like I'm losing my mind, so bear with me because my chart doesn't look the way I quite want it to look. So bear with me. We have plenty of time. Time out, time out, time out. Okay, I guess it's okay. I'm not crazy about my charts there. All right. They are what they are. All right, so our beans are ready to go as a backup. So remember, they don't need to be set and turned on. The trap trade. One position. Tier 1 is 18, Tier 2 is 32, the event is 12. Preparation is 5 seconds, and our stop is 22. So we should be good to go on our trap. Everybody good? So the trap will be turned on. We're going to check our time sync like we always do by going to the website. Time is, and once again, I want to thank everyone that's watching us on YouTube. If you'd give us a like, we would love it. Hit that like button, type in how much you love us, and when you're done, you can go to www.10minutetrades.com, sign up for the video, how to find your own 10-minute trades, and you'll receive our free weekly schedule. So if you're watching us on YouTube, in fact, if you are a trial member here today, go to www.10minutetrades.com and get the free, sign up for the free video, how to find your own 10-minute trades. And sign up for that video, and we'll send you our weekly schedule every week. The weekly schedule is very useful if you're a discretionary trader. You want to know what's going on in the market so you're not accidentally in a trade when you shouldn't be. You don't want to be in a trade when there's important news taking place unless you know that there's important news taking place, right? Going to the website, time is to check our sync. Time is exact. How could they possibly be talking about hiking 100 basis points? I think they've gone insane. Somebody's completely lost their mind. Now, we will take a break after WASDE, and we do have the 10-year note auction. That's at 12:30, the trade room starts. But we will take a few minutes probably in between the reports. And then we will be here also for the FOMC statement, not statement, meeting minutes, FOMC meeting minutes. That's a 1:30 trade room. So we're just going to take some short breaks. We'll be in and out. Isn't there a burger place called In-N-Out? Is there a burger place called In-N-Out Burgers? Anybody out there? In California? I thought so. I'm not a big burger person. I like a good burger. I do like a good burger. Best burgers ever. Justice Warren Burger. He was a good burger. Okay. So we're waiting for the trap. Waiting for the trap. Last month, the trap, it works. It didn't hit both targets. So, I'd like to see a good move that hits both targets and then reverses. That would be nice. Last month, it popped up. You could see that soybeans started early also. It popped up, eventually filled. See, normally you want a trap trade to fill right away. You don't want to wait for a trap trade to fill. A good trap trade, honestly, will fill right away. That's usually when it's going to give you the best results, usually. This particular trap trade was pretty darn slow to fill. It was, almost half a minute. It kind of tells you that there's just not a lot of impact initially from the event. See, it filled, never really came to the second tier. It is important. Make sure that your chart is wide enough. Okay, wide enough so you see the cancel button. The cancel button means cancel the outer tier. If you get a fill of one tier and eventually you realize, hey, it's not going far enough to cancel the other tier, you can cancel it by clicking the cancel button. It doesn't mean cancel the trade. It means cancel the outer tier. Now, trust me, but I'm just checking the margins, and margins are normal, okay? Margins are normal. So we have 2 minutes. Now, in the old days, when a lot of the time we traded corn breakouts, and WASDE sometimes it could take up to 20, 30 seconds to fill. Now you notice there's no news on a calendar because the calendars, other than investing.com, just listing that there is a WASDE, there's really no news results with the WASDE report. It's generally a report that isn't widely reported on in the popular calendars, okay? All right, so we're watching and waiting. So there's our orders. I like the charts. That's fine. Soybeans moved pretty nicely. Soybeans moved pretty nicely. Now, what we want to see here is a reversal. Okay, I'll take an $800 trade on WASDE. I probably could have stayed in longer. But I really thought it was going to reverse off of that, but we made 825 on WASDE. If anybody traded soybeans, it looked to me like you should have had a great trade. So tell me what happened. If you traded corn, you could have had $1,000 on that trade. I traded pretty conservatively. So give me a recall, folks. Give me a recap. What happened to you? You know, the market owes us a lot of good trades. We've had very difficult trading for a couple of months. And the key is not to give up. You just got to keep fighting through the bad trades. And things get better. It just does. So Steve S. traded a reversal. What a surprise, Steve S. An old friend, the reversal king, Steve S. Steve, I'd like to work on you again to get you in the room. Somehow we got to figure something out. I think it would be really good for everybody in the room if you were in it. So give me a recap, folks. Who traded? Did nobody trade? The trap trade. Okay, Eva, way to go. Eva, way to go. Very nice trade. Very nice trade. Who else? Anybody else? Come on. No one else traded? WASDE. It's WASDE. It's one of my favorite trades. It is one of my favorite trades. Peter should have done. It's okay, Peter. It's okay. You know, don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. ZS didn't fill. Dutchy, how'd you trade it? How'd you trade it? So well then, I'm not sure why you didn't get filled. Corn. Now, Alberto, corn. We'll look at the video. I never really talked about the corn breakout. The DMM was fine. That was the setup, you know, if I don't say anything bad. Langford traded one tier. That's a very good trade for one tier, almost $300. Alberto, $400 on the breakout on corn. KT, ZC, practicing corn. Dutchy, always the man with an unbelievable amount of ticks. And then Tom, what a day you're having, Tom. You are having an awesome day. Mrs. W, very nice. Mrs. W, I'm assuming you're learning how to use the software because you're new. So that's a good thing. Testing 1, 2. Audio is good, folks. Audio is good, I assume. So Peter, audio. Log in and out. Okay. Who else? Okay. I'm just checking to see. So anybody who traded made money. And a lot of people made money on this morning's trade. Now, look, I got out way too soon. Way too soon. Way too soon. Could have easily doubled or tripled my trade. Easily doubled or tripled my trade. All right, so we've got half an hour until bonds. Half an hour until bonds. And then, you know, I got to tell you, I wish we did. I almost wish we didn't have bonds and we were going straight to FOMC, because the FOMC is interesting. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm anxious to talk about it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Let's look at the video. Let's see what happened here. All right, let's see what happened here. On a trap trade, it's really not a big issue of where you get filled, okay? Because on a trap trade, we're trading the opposite direction that the market is going generally. That's correct, KT. It is a busy day today. I like these busy days. It's fun. It's fun. Generally, on a trap trade, we're going the opposite direction to the market. So we don't have to worry that much about slippage or not getting filled correctly. On a trap trade, you almost don't even care if you get filled early, because the whole concept is it's going to reverse, and it'll probably reverse more than once. So that's the interesting thing about traps. Armand, I really don't, because we do it report by report. It's impossible to track it every report because nobody trades every report. So the way that you have to look at it, Armand, is how is this report doing? How is that report doing? And you make a decision on which specific reports you want to trade, because nobody trades all the reports. So having a year-to-date P&L on all the reports wouldn't make sense, okay? You know, if you want to ask me, well, what are the best reports to trade? I can answer that for you. And very honestly, not everybody has the same setup. Not everyone uses the same setup. We all manage our trades differently. You know, I can tell you what I've done, but very often members are trading and making more money than me. And that's the honest to God's truth. All right. So WASDE was awesome, you know, and WASDE owes us, right? WASDE owes us a whole bunch of more awesome trades to go, right? More to come. WASDE owes us. Let me make a couple of quick notes. Let's look at the video. I guess we'll probably stick in the room. Probably going to stick in the room until bonds and FOMC. I mean, there's no point. Where are we going to go? Where am I going to go? I'll go heat up my coffee. I've been drinking the same cup of coffee for about a week now. And let me get this video set up so we can watch it real quick. Give me a second. To render. I don't really render the video. All I have to do is save it. It auto renders. So we got WASDE. I mean, it's just been really due for a good trap. It's been due. I had a feeling that there was going to be good movement, especially there was a little bit of a news blurb that China was importing Brazilian corn. It made me think maybe there would be some negativity in corn from that. I wasn't trading it that way, and I wasn't really thinking of anything other than I don't think I've ever seen news about grains prior to a WASDE report. I thought that was a little bit strange. That's all I'm saying. So let's look at the video. Let me just notate what happened. I was just thinking, when I first got here years ago, I did not know what a WASDE was. I laugh about it. I joke about it. What's a WASDE? I did not know what the WASDE report was. I'd never heard of it. I never knew you could trade corn and soybeans and cattle and all that kind of stuff. I never realized that. I got hooked on this stuff because of natural gas. That's what got me hooked on this type of trading. And natural gas, as difficult as it's been, has now had 4 winning weeks in a row. So I think natural gas is back. At least it's coming back for me. I'm not trading it. I don't know when I'm going to trade it next, but natural gas is definitely maybe coming back, possibly. Not sure. Let me just show you the video. I want to thank everybody on YouTube. Don't forget, please. Eric, thank you very much. I see you on YouTube. Don't forget on YouTube, 10minutetrades.com. Sign up for our free weekly schedule. Here's the video of the trade. So what I was curious, watch the right side. Watch beans. Did they go early? They've been going early pretty regularly. Now, our orders go on the chart at 58. Our orders go on the chart 58 for the beans. So you could see they did not move early, all right? The price, the clock is past 58. Beans did not start moving until 12 exactly, okay? You could see they shot up and looked like a pretty safe trade. I'm surprised that whoever said they didn't get filled on beans, that's a surprise. Unless the orders just dried so dry. Well, the beans were a little bit dry. Maybe you should have added a little ketchup to them and it might have filled. But if the beans just dried up, the beans dried up, the orders dried up, maybe that's why you didn't get filled. It looked to me like a good trade. It looked like a good trade. I didn't think it was all that fast. But you do not know 100% for sure unless you traded it. You just can't. You can analyze it till the cows come home. And sometimes you can't tell. Some instruments you cannot tell. Now, looking at the trap trade, it did exactly what we wanted. It had a nice move. It went up through both our targets, our tiers, not targets, both our tiers, beautifully filled them both, and then reversed quickly, strongly. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm getting out of here. And I got out of here.